That's my term for it. But it's filled with saturated fat that drives inflammation, sugars that stick to proteins and oxidize them. Animal peptides get into the bloodstream, setting off immune reaction. I'll show you what the salt does in the bloodstream and the arteries. Uh, Cooking meat and cooking carbohydrates like chips creates advanced glycation end products teeming with free radicals. The emulsifiers keep ice cream soft in your mouth, but they also dissolve the intestinal lining mucus on the surface of your small gut. Cooking the burger, broiling the steak oxidizes the cholesterol, and it's the oxidized cholesterol particles that are the most atherogenic. I'll quickly run through these other meat-based marauders in a minute here, but this surges through your bloodstream for 5 hours after every meat and dairy-based meal. It's a fatty tide, it's a salty tide, it's a sugary tide. It sets off immune reactions, so it's antigenic. It's full of phosphates and sulfates that form sulfuric and phosphoric acids that your kidneys and bones have to neutralize. It damages your DNA. It's mutagenic. Sets off cancers. It's carcinogenic. It sets off plaque in the artery walls. It's atherogenic, pro-inflammatory, disrupts enzyme reactions throughout the body. This is the disrupting influence of the Western diet. People say, well, I don't eat the fast foods. I don't eat those white flour burgers. Okay, fair enough. Here, if you just eat a pure paleo diet, you just broil a steak and have some non-starchy vegetables, you are still getting the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 of these inflammatory disrupting molecules flowing through your tissues on a, quote, clean carnivore or paleo diet. I mentioned it's a high salt diet. It sure is. There's salt in the meat, salt in the cheese, salt in the fries, salt in the chips, salt in the spaghetti sauce at the Italian restaurant, in the processed foods and the frozen dinners, and it's already in these foods. You can't regulate it. People say, well, we don't use salt shakers at our table anymore. Actually, that's the one place you got control over. A pinch of salt on the surface of your veggies is you get a big salty hit for very little actual sodium. That is the way to use it. It's the processed foods that load you up with sodium, that stiffen your artery walls, raise your blood pressure, sets you up for congestive heart failure, atherosclerotic vascular disease, myocardial infarctions, heart attacks, cerebral vascular accidents, strokes, chronic kidney disease leading to dialysis, and who knew, but high salt diets trigger immune cells that open the door to lupus and autoimmune disease. Who knew? But as a recovering saltaholic myself, I'm starting to, well, I'm learning how to entertain my tongue with non-salty flavorings. We use lemon juice and lime juice over most of our foods. We use balsamic vinegar on our veggies and salads. We add celery juice to the soups instead of salt. There's a wonderful salt-free but very salty flavored product called Benson's Table Tasty. I have no connection with the company whatsoever, but it's just been a wonderful addition to our table, and you can order it off the internet. Excellent way to reduce your sodium intake. Then there's sugar. Now I'm talking about a teaspoon of maple syrup in your tea. That's the proper use as a flavoring. I'm talking about eating sugar as a food. If you eat a vegan donut, if you eat a candy bar, cookies, drink a cola drink, you are flooding your tissues with grams and grams of fructose, dextrose, maltose, and these sugars stick to proteins all over the body, and they glycosylate them. And your own body heat will then oxidize these glycosylated proteins to form these advanced glycation end products, AGEs. Um, they are teeming with free radicals that rip up proteins and cell membranes around the body. They rip electrons off your tissues. Um, and um, and it's one thing it's bad enough to put carbohydrates, potato chips into hot oil and create these advanced glycation end products. But boy, you're sure to want to create these advanced glycation end products um, in your own tissues because they age you. The acronym is accurate, AGE. It ages you. You don't want to form these AGEs in the crystalline proteins of the lens of your eye. Great way to open the door to cataracts. You don't want to form these AGEs in the elastin fibers of your skin. It's a great way to turn your skin into an old suitcase. And you sure don't want to run this reaction of oxidizing these glycosylated proteins and forming AGEs in the lining of the blood vessels in your brain. Why? Well, here's why. Here is the arteries of two men who died at the same age. The man in the upper panel did not have Alzheimer's dementia. The man in the lower panel did have Alzheimer's dementia. And you can see the man with the Alzheimer's disease how thickened and edematous his brain arteries are. And if you stain for these AGEs, you'll see that those artery walls are filled with them. Alzheimer's disease is not something that falls out of a tree on you at age 60. It's from 60, 70 years of running the red tide, molecular marauders through the arteries in your brain. There are other issues, that causes deposition of amyloid and tau protein, all this stuff. But there's a huge vascular component to Alzheimer's disease and these AGEs, the sugars, and meats. When you cook meats, when you broil the steak or fry the chicken, or grill the fish, you get even more AGEs than cooking the carbohydrate, making the potato chips. Cooking meat produces the highest amount of AGEs. So I lingered here, you can really hurt yourself with vegan junk foods. But most of your patients and most of your friends and relatives, they're not vegan, okay? They are eating animal flesh 3 times a day. And if you have meat in your diet on a regular basis, you are adding these 10 a whole new layer, a whole new tier of meat-based toxins, if you will.